captive killers? Wherever there are performing orcas, there are always many spectators. However, during the last few years, there have been many stories of captive orcas having terrible health problems and even attacking and killing their trainers. Many of the stories have focused on orcas kept by SeaWorld, a chain of amusement parks in the USA. In particular, an incident in 2010 dragged the plight of these orcas into the limelight. In front of a crowd of visitors, an adult male orca named Tilikum pulled his trainer Dawn Brancheau underwater by the hair and savaged her. The investigation into her death ruled that she died from drowning and traumatic injuries. This killing caused horror around the world, and many called for Tilikum to be put down. Tilikum has been linked to 2 previous deaths. Before SeaWorld purchased him, he was part of a group of orcas that drowned a trainer at a Canadian park in 1991, and in 1999 a man who was trespassing in the SeaWorld park was found drowned and mauled in Tilikum's tank. Others, especially marine scientists, spoke out in defence of Tilikum. They insisted that the animal was not to blame. The 2013 documentary, Blackfish, held that Tilikum's violent attacks were directly caused by the stressful conditions of his captivity. Decades of scientific observation show that wild orcas are not naturally aggressive toward humans, and there are no recorded instances of a wild orca killing a human. However, Tilikum was not unique. In fact, just 2 months before Dawn's death, another orca killed his trainer at a park in Spain. According to SeaWorld's records, orcas injured their keepers 12 times between 1988 and 2009. These figures raise an important question. Do conditions in captivity cause abnormally aggressive behaviour or damage an orca's psychological health? There's no evidence whatsoever that there is any mental aberration that is a result of living in a zoological park or otherwise, states Dr. Chris Dold, SeaWorld's Vice President of Veterinary Services. However, SeaWorld has yet to publish any research about its orcas' general welfare or any empirical evidence to prove that keeping these animals in captivity doesn't cause them harm. Many marine scientists have spoken out against the practice of keeping orcas in captivity. They point out that wild orcas live far longer than captive ones. Studies suggest that the average survival rate in captivity in the US is just 12 years, compared to an average of 50 or 60 years in the wild. Captive orcas have been observed to have many unexplained injuries and damage to their teeth, which some scientists argue is a result of repetitive movements caused by stress and boredom. Orcas are highly social animals that stay with their family group their whole lives. Some scientists claim that the trauma of being taken from their family causes orcas extreme distress. Additionally, orcas belong to cultures, known as ecotypes. Each group has a distinct way of communicating, specialised feeding habits, and genetic differences. It is very rare for different ecotypes to come into contact with each other in the wild, and whenever they are suddenly forced together, it causes problems. For example, in 1989, during a live SeaWorld show, a female named Candu tried to attack another orca. As a result, Candu burst an artery and bled to death. That degree of aggression has never been observed in the wild, says Dr. Naomi Rose, a marine mammal scientist. The 2 whales involved were from different oceans. They would never have encountered each other in the wild. Tilikum died aged 36 in January 2017. SeaWorld has said it was deeply saddened by the orca's death. Although SeaWorld has stopped buying wild orcas and announced in March 2016 that they would no longer breed them, they still have more than 25 orcas in their parks or on loan to parks abroad. Other amusement parks continue to display wild-born orcas in their shows, and more than 50 orcas remain in captivity worldwide. SeaWorld insists that keeping captive orcas allows researchers and members of the public to learn about them, using methods that are impossible in the wild. Whenever animals are kept in captivity, ethical issues naturally arise. Is it beneficial to keep large mammals in zoos and amusement parks? or is it time for a new approach?